If you're applying to law school, you may have noticed that this year's admission stats are like nothing we've seen before. GPA medians have shot up at over half the country's law schools, applications have spiked by more than 25% year over year, and the number of people scoring 170 plus on the LSAT has jumped yet again. If your GPA is under a 3.8 or your LSAT is short of the mid-170s, you cannot ignore these trends. They're going to shape your entire admissions strategy coming up. Today, I'll show you why these changes are happening, how to navigate them, and what you can do to keep your law school dreams alive despite the fierce competition. First, for those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my own LSAT score from a 152 to a 175. Now, I've helped students across the spectrum, everyone from top scores looking at T14 law schools to non-traditional applicants seeking strong regional options. Now, usually, we see gradual shifts in admissions data. A GPA median might inch up by 0.01 or 0.02 in a year, or an LSAT median might tick up by a point at a couple of schools, but this year is different. I'm seeing jumps in medians that were unthinkable even a few cycles ago, and applicant volume is skyrocketing, and it doesn't show any signs of slowing down anytime soon. Why should you care? Because in an environment where GPA medians are rising and more people than ever are hitting 170 plus on the LSAT, the bar just got a whole lot higher. But don't panic. I'm going to walk you through the most crucial steps to take right now. Now let's talk about the GPA explosion. The recent 509 reports from the ABA reveal record high GPA median increases. Every year, they release ABA 509 reports detailing their incoming class stats, but this year's reports show something remarkable. Over 60% of law schools, that's 122 in total, raised their GPA medians. Schools that used to hover around a 3.6 or 3.7 GPA median are now creeping toward a 3.8 GPA median or higher. And a handful of schools reported increases of 0.1 or more at the median, which is massive in a single cycle. In practical terms, what does this mean? If you had a 3.7 last year, you might have been safely above the median at a top 30 school. Now, you could be below the median for that exact same school. One striking example is that certain schools that were in the high 3.6 range recently are now inching toward 3.8, and that's a game changer for admissions. Now, why are GPA medians rising so fast? The number one reason is undergraduate grade inflation. Colleges have become more liberal in giving out A's, so applicants across the board are presenting higher GPAs. Schools are also increasingly competitive. They watch each other's medians closely and they don't want to be left behind. When a few raise their GPA requirements, others follow suit. Now, if the soaring GPA medians weren't enough, there's another factor as well. Law school applicant numbers are up by 25.6% compared to this time last year. This kind of spike is beyond that of major events like the 2020 pandemic cycle or the 2016 election cycle. It's no secret, politically charged climates and a turbulent economy push more people toward law school. Law school application numbers tend to rise in contentious presidential election years, the so-called Trump bump, and that is no exception this year from 2024 into 2025. Now, higher applicant volume means fewer seats for an increasing number of qualified candidates, and a 25% increase translates to thousands more applicants overall. Now for the LSAT side. I've talked a lot about the recent LSAT score inflation due to factors like accommodations, more testing dates, and better prep resources, but this year's data shows a new twist. Last cycle, we saw about 4.1% of applicants scoring in the 175 to 180 range. This year, it's 4.4%. That might seem like 0.3% jump. That's not that significant, but because the overall applicant pool is bigger, it's actually a 7.3% increase in the absolute number of test takers scoring 175 plus. And we're seeing a similar increase in the applicants scoring in the 170 to 174 range. We went from 10.7% in that range last year to 11.3% this year, which is a 5.6% increase in the absolute number of people hitting that high score band. When you zoom out, these small percentage gains mean hundreds, if not thousands more people are applying with 170 plus LSAT scores. So if you're looking for law school scholarship money or seats at competitive schools, that's extra pressure to push your score higher. As if all this weren't enough, LSAC has hinted they may start scoring the writing sample in the near future. It's always been an unscored essay attached to your LSAT record, paling in comparison to the importance of your LSAT score. But if LSAC transitions to scoring it, your writing ability under timed conditions could become yet another quantifiable factor. Think of it like adding a mini bar exam essay to your LSAT process. This would mean for you that you would need to practice writing coherent, structured essays under timed pressure. A strong essay could potentially separate you from the pack, especially if your GPA or other LSAT score is borderline. And if you're a great writer, you could find yourself at a relative advantage if that scoring becomes a reality. It's not definite yet. It's not going to happen at the earliest until after the June 2025 LSAT. But if you hear even a hint of official confirmation from LSAC, you're going to want to start working on your writing abilities next cycle. All of this will culminate in a more competitive environment than we've seen in years. Specifically, your GPA might not be competitive where it used to be. If you're under a 3.8, you're no longer a shoo-in for schools that previously had GPA medians closer to 3.6 or 3.7. Now, with GPA inflation, the LSAT matters more than ever. It remains the last standardized objective measure that schools rely on. If LSAC starts scoring the writing sample next cycle, that's going to be one more aspect of the LSAT to study for. Now, law school scholarship money primarily comes down to your LSAT and your GPA being above the median. And so if more people have higher numbers, scholarship budgets might be stretched. It might be harder to negotiate that scholarship aid. Your GPA, of course, is probably pretty fixed at this point in time, but you've still got plenty of room to study for the LSAT and boost your score significantly. It used to be that scoring a 173 put you in the 99th percentile. Now you've got to get a 175 to be in the 99th percentile. And so for a shot at law school scholarship money, especially if your GPA is below a 3.8, you're going to want to consider setting a higher goal for the LSAT than you initially planned. Maybe consider retaking the LSAT, putting in a bit more work on it to get the highest score possible. Ideally, of course, 170 plus, or even better, 175 plus. Now, if you'd like my help getting ready for the LSAT, getting the highest possible score, my team and I would be glad to help you out. At LSAT Unplugged, we offer live online classes via Zoom, on-demand video courses, small group coaching, and one-on-one coaching. You could check out the links below to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. Now, when you're looking at law schools, don't rely on last year's admission stats. Pull up the most recent ABA 509 reports for every school on your list, then recategorize what you consider a reach, a target, or a safety school based on this year's updated medians, not last year's. You want to be using the newest law school admissions data possible. Now, if your GPA is below the new medians, you might want to write an addendum to provide context to explain the lower GPA. Maybe you faced significant challenges in undergrad. If you can, you want to show a clear upward trend or evidence that you took rigorous classes. Law schools will appreciate well-explained stories that reflect resilience, especially when it's combined with a solid LSAT score. Now, don't sell yourself short on the scholarships. Negotiate if you can. The competition, of course, will be fierce, but if you can get a top LSAT score above their medians, schools will still compete for you because they need strong LSAT medians just as much as they need strong GPA medians. And if you get multiple offers, don't be afraid to politely negotiate your scholarship financial aid packages. Also, consider your timing carefully. A lot of folks rush to get their applications in, but if you think an extra month or two of prep could get your LSAT score up higher, even by just a couple of points, it's worth applying a little bit later or even delaying a cycle if you need that time to get your LSAT up. Now, this cycle's changes aren't minor blips. They are part of a broader trend where we see rising GPA medians, rising LSAT medians, and the applicant pool could stay robust. So if you're caught in the middle without a super high GPA nor a super high LSAT, you're going to have to adapt by leveraging every chance you can to first and foremost get the highest LSAT score possible, get your LSAT up above those medians to maximize your odds of getting in and getting significant scholarship money. Check out the latest ABA 509 reports for every school you're looking at. And if you'd like my help retaking the LSAT or taking it for the first time, getting the highest score possible, ideally 170 plus, if not 175 plus, you could check out the links below to find out more about how I can help, and you can book a call with me and my team. And in the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.